Gangs. The word itself evokes images of violence, fear, and despair, but what exactly defines a gang? At their core, gangs are groups of individuals who share a common identity and engage in criminal activity. This shared identity can be based on ethnicity, neighborhood, or ideology, and it serves as a powerful bond that unites members. Gangs often operate outside the bounds of the law, engaging in activities such as drug trafficking, robbery, and extortion. They provide a sense of belonging and protection in communities where poverty, lack of opportunity, and social isolation are rampant. Understanding the origins and evolution of gangs is crucial for developing effective strategies to combat gang violence and mitigate its devastating effects on communities worldwide. By examining the historical, social, and economic factors that contribute to gang formation, we can begin to address the root causes of this complex issue. This exploration into the world of gangs is not meant to glorify or sensationalize their activities. Instead, it aims to shed light on a dark and often misunderstood aspect of society, with the hope of fostering greater understanding and inspiring positive change. The roots of gang activity can be traced back centuries to a time when cities were rapidly growing and social structures were undergoing significant transformations. In the crowded, impoverished neighborhoods of these burgeoning urban centers, individuals on the margins of society found solace and strength in numbers. Early gangs often formed along ethnic or occupational lines, providing a sense of community and protection in an increasingly impersonal and often hostile environment. These groups often engaged in petty crime and violence, but their activities were often localized and less organized than the sophisticated criminal enterprises we associate with modern gangs. One of the earliest documented examples of gang activity emerged in London during the 18th century. These gangs, known as Mohawks, were notorious for their random acts of violence and vandalism, terrorizing the city's inhabitants. While these early gangs lacked the structure and sophistication of their modern counterparts, they represent the enduring human tendency to form groups and engage in collective action, even when that action is destructive. The 20th century witnessed a significant evolution in the nature and scope of gang activity. The Industrial Revolution, with its promise of opportunity and prosperity, drew millions to urban centers. However, for many, the reality of city life was one of poverty, discrimination, and social exclusion. In this environment of disillusionment and despair, gangs flourished. They provided a sense of belonging, identity, and purpose for marginalized youth who felt invisible and powerless in the face of overwhelming social and economic challenges. The rise of organized crime during the Prohibition era further fueled the growth of gangs. The lucrative opportunities presented by the illegal alcohol trade provided gangs with both financial resources and a reason to organize and expand their operations. This period marked a turning point in the evolution of gangs, transforming them from loosely organized groups into sophisticated criminal enterprises with complex hierarchies and far-reaching influence. Section 4. The colors of division: white gangs and their evolution. White gangs have a long and complex history in the United States, often rooted in ethnic and territorial rivalries. In the early 20th century, cities like New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles saw the emergence of white gangs, often composed of Irish, Italian, and Polish immigrants. These gangs fought for control of neighborhoods, jobs, and illicit markets, their violent clashes reflecting the broader social tensions of the time. Over the decades, the nature and motivations of white gangs have evolved. The rise of motorcycle gangs like the Hells Angels in the post-World War II era marked a shift towards outlaw biker culture, characterized by a rejection of mainstream values and a focus on brotherhood, loyalty, and freedom. Today, white gangs continue to operate across the United States, engaging in a wide range of criminal activities, including drug trafficking, weapons smuggling, and hate crimes. While their numbers and influence have diminished in some areas, they remain a significant concern for law enforcement and a reminder of the persistent challenges posed by organized crime. Section 5. Fighting for identity: the emergence of black gangs. The emergence of black gangs in the United States is deeply intertwined with the history of racial segregation, discrimination, and economic inequality. In the face of systemic oppression and limited opportunities, many young black men and women found solace and solidarity in gangs, which provided a sense of belonging, protection, and identity. The civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s brought about significant social and legal changes, but it also led to new challenges for black communities. The dismantling of segregationist laws did not erase the deep-seated racism and economic disparities that continued to plague black Americans. In this environment of frustration and anger, black gangs emerged as a powerful force, both reflecting and resisting the social order. Gangs provided a sense of agency and power in a world that often seemed determined to deny them both. They became a symbol of resistance, a way for marginalized youth to reclaim their narratives and assert their presence in a society that had long ignored their voices. Section 6, Behind Bars, the rise of prison gangs. The confines of prison, with its inherent violence, deprivation, and lack of opportunity, provide fertile ground for the formation and growth of gangs. Prison gangs, often formed along racial or ethnic lines, offer a sense of protection, camaraderie, and control in an environment where such things are scarce. These gangs operate with a strict code of conduct and a hierarchical structure, often mirroring the organizations they left behind on the outside. They engage in a wide range of criminal activities within prison walls, including drug trafficking, extortion, and violence, often wielding significant influence over the inmate population. The reach of prison gangs often extends far beyond the prison yard. They maintain strong ties to street gangs and criminal enterprises, facilitating drug trafficking, money laundering, and other illicit activities both inside and outside prison walls. The rise of prison gangs highlights the interconnectedness of crime and punishment, and the challenges of breaking the cycle of violence and incarceration.